on the NewsChannel 5 network. This is the Takacs McGinnis Elder Care Law Hour.
Hello everyone, I'm Tim Takacs. Welcome to Takacs McGinnis Elder Care Law News Hour, where we explore the many issues that can arise due to aging, chronic conditions, disability, and unexpected illness. As I said, I'm your host, Tim Takacs, and with me today is my co-host
and
partner.
McGinnis. I'm Barbara McGinnis, and in today's show we're going to talk about the many issues that involve growing older in the community. It's the issues that are faced by the elder, by the families that take care of them, and the response of the community, and what's going on in our communities that help people age in place, things that are not working so well that might be in the horizon for improvement. We're going to have a variety of guests with us today that's going to explore these issues. We're going to talk to a physician, a government official, and someone that's a director of a large not-for-profit organization in our community. We're going to start today from the perspective of a certified elder law attorney. Now, who better than my co-host, Tim Takacs. Tim was the founder of Takacs McGinnis Elder Care Law in Hendersonville, Tennessee, 25 years ago. Tim, what kind of issues are aging adults facing today, and how's that different from when you started 25 years ago?
Well, what I've seen over the past 25 years is, of course, many changes in our client mix, the clients and the families, the older people that are coming in to see us. I would say probably that as far as like maybe the major issues that our older people are facing today, one would be just longer life. I know it's sort of a truism, or maybe it's kind of a cliche that everybody is getting older, but the fact is that that our population is getting older, not just older in general, but as a percentage of elderly people in the population. That is continuing to rise. One of the largest percentages of older people is the people who are often called the oldest elderly, the people who are 85 years of age and older.
Mm-hmm.
And as we all know, as you know, Dr. Powers is going to be here and talk to us a little bit later, and and talking about the particular segments and how aging is, his view of aging. I think the second one would be extended families.
Like that we're not so close anymore. We don't live nearby to take care of each other.
That's always kind of been the case, but somehow it seems that more and more over the past 20-25 years that there's even more people that are not here or not close to their children or other sort of natural caregivers.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third one, and this is something that as you know, we've been working on or thinking about a lot over the last couple of years, is a term that we're trying to think about what the right term is. The traditional term is the unbefriended elders, and those are people who maybe are living in the community and really have no natural supports for them. We don't like the term unbefriended because a lot of them could have friends. It's just that they don't have a set of people that are around, decision makers, that could help them if they become disabled or incapacitated. So we're trying to come up with the right name for them, and so we've kind of talked about the unsupported elders. Is another issue that we see moving forward. And of course, what we also look at from a demographic standpoint is who will be the caregivers. Because if our population is aging, then the group of caregivers
are also aging.
They're also aging, and that's us baby boomers, because right now the baby boomers are this large segment of the population. Well, the baby boomers are now moving into older age, and so we're going to be looking for caregivers, and where are those caregivers going to be? Where are they going to come from? And then there's the same issue that has been coming up in our practice for 25 years, which is paying for care. That's always a problem, but it's going to be even more of a problem as our older population lives longer, and they may be paying for extended care, not necessarily for nursing care, but
and there's less likelihood that there is unpaid caregiving from family members.
Exactly.
So we've got people living longer, people that are not as close to their family supports.
Right.
They may have fewer family supports to begin with, and then they may not be living in nursing homes, but requiring care in their home, in the community, or maybe even an assisted living type facility, and that you've got an opportunity for paying for care for longer periods of time.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And it may not be the level of care that you might need in a nursing home, but it might be care that you would need in maybe an assisted living or even living at home, which may be less expensive, but you're going to have more of it and for a longer period of time.
Now, all of those issues, you've kind of distilled into a graphic.
Yes.
And we refer to it in our office, we talk about the 4 lines. But can you explain the graphic?
Sure.
Or the continuum for our viewers?
Right, that's the elder care continuum. And as you can see from, I hope our viewers will see this, this is what we call the continuum. And as Barbara mentioned, it's the 4 lines. The first line is what we call our functional limitations line, and that's the line that basically means or denotes aging, loss of function. Now, not every person who gets older loses function, but the fact is that most people, the great majority of people as they age, lose function of some sort.
And it may be from an illness or it could just be the frailty of aging. Exactly,
right. So that's our first line, and that line typically guides the type of planning that we do, because we have to look at what the person's situation is, what their health status is, and try to make reasonable projections about what we can expect for them, for certainly what they need today and what they're likely to need in the future, as regard as personal care, and how to pay for that and where that care is going to take place, which is the next line. The next line is what we call our home sweet home line, and if you look at that graphic, you'll see that on the far left are really older people who have no loss of function. And so for them, it's home sweet home.
Right.
But as they continue to age and they lose function, and they lose functions at various rates, depending upon what their care problems or health problems are, then the question or the issue that they have is, are they getting the care that they need? When and where they need it.
And are they getting it in the right place?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And then the third and fourth lines, the third line is essentially what the cost of care is. We often talk to our clients and our families about, well, if you want care at home, 24/7 care, then how much is that going to cost? Well, if you were going to get paid care, the care at home costs maybe $10,000 a month.
Easy.
For 24/7 care. But for many of older adults who are living at home and they need a little bit of assistance, the care is unpaid care, and that comes from family. And I know, I imagine that when Dr. Powers comes on, he'll talk perhaps about the need about unpaid caregivers, which is basically the largest provider of care in the United States.
I can see us having a whole episode on caregiving and how care gets paid for.
Right, and I suspect maybe that will come along in the as we move forward in this in the episodes. So you have the third line, which, as I said, is the cost of care, from maybe unpaid care at home to maybe assisted living care to nursing home care. And then the last line is what we call the resources line. Basically, what are all the goods and services that are or could be available or accessible to the older person as they move along the continuum. And as we often say in our office, and as we teach this to to our clients and our families, and actually we teach this to other lawyers all over the country, is that if you understand how this works for your client, then you'll spend the rest of your career trying to figure out how to make it work, you know, for all of your clients and families that are coming in.
And every family is unique and different,
Absolutely.
and that's what makes this fascinating.
And all care is local.
Us.
Yes.
So it is time for a break. When we come back, we're going to introduce our first guest, which will be a renowned geriatrician, and we're going to look at the new definition of aging and have Dr. James Powers with us. We'll be right back.
This is a Storm 5 HD weather update. Sign up for Weather Call at newschannel5.com.
Good Friday from the Storm 5 HD Weather Center. I'm News Channel 5 meteorologist Kelly Cox. Here's a look at your radar picture. Across the mid-state today, we'll see rain off and on, along with a few embedded thunderstorms as well. But it's going to be flooding that is the main concern for us, as a few areas have already picked up heavy rain from overnight. Here are your current temperatures now across the region. These readings are updated hourly. And from the top of the hour, here are your current conditions at the Nashville International Airport. Your forecast for today calls for a high of only 72, so not a big warm up. We're going to see rain off and on again with a few thunderstorms in the mix and winds going from the south to the north later today. Again, 72 your high, 55 your low tonight, 67 but with dry sunny weather returning for your Saturday. Low 80s for Mother's Day with beautiful sunshine, and then warm with lots of sun throughout the week and slight chance rain on Thursday.
At Ponce Law, we're always looking for a better way to help our clients with dedicated lawyers, a top-notch staff, and faster service. The sooner we win your case, the sooner you can put this accident behind you. You want it done quickly, you need it done right. Our team helps people injured in accidents, and we're ready to help you. Ponce Law, justice for all. 615-244-4321.
Can't get enough NCIS? Meet the real-life agent who inspires NCIS New Orleans.
We going after a murderer.
Tonight.
My life would never be the same without my wife.
He'll fly into a blind rage.
I'm gonna hurt people.
The season finale of NCIS LA. Then.
This is Elizabeth McCord,
our Secretary of State.
We are at a critical juncture. Let's change the world.
New Madam Secretary after the season finale of NCIS LA Sunday. He's got the #1 movie.
Who would have thunk it?
I would have. And he's got something to say.
I'm gonna hump you.
That doesn't sound good.
All new Ellen, Chris Pratt.
I'm gonna hump you.
Plus,
we want to do something for you. We've never done this in 14 years.
Oh my God.
Today at 3 on News Channel 5. When you're on the move, make sure you stay in the know.
Continuing to follow breaking news.
Because the breaking news that matters to you
Traffic is backed up for miles.
can come from anywhere.
Protesters have been
at any time.
Showers expected.
See it
Sky fire
as it happens.
Rolled over school buses.
Wherever you are.
Storm cell that's coming
News
through.
Channel 5 streaming live.
Quite a bit of lightning here.
Stay safe.
Take a look at this Sky fire.
Stay connected to your news and information leader. Live streaming of News Channel 5 is sponsored by Universal Kia.
Hi, we're back. I'm Barbara McGinnis, and this is the Takacs McGinnis Elder Care News Hour. And we're talking about aging and the role of the community for older people and the families that take care of them. I'm your host, Barb McGinnis.
Hi, and I'm your host, Tim Takacs. And in this segment, we're going to look at the evolution of expectations around aging. A lot of what we see in aging over the years has been retirement planning brochures where there are photographs of older people, as we say, and white-haired, healthy aging, who are riding off into the sunset in good health. But as we know, and those of us who work in this area know, that that's not exactly what everybody can expect when they get older. So things are a lot different today. In the past, when I started practicing elder law, the sense of it was that older people would be healthy and then they would get sick and they would get to a nursing home and die. And you know, that is certainly not the picture of aging today. And here today is a very renowned, as Barbara said, a very renowned physician at Vanderbilt University Medical Center, Dr. James Powers, who is nationally known for his work in the field of geriatrics, palliative care, and long-term care. Welcome, Dr. Powers.
Thank you very much.
And
it's a pleasure to be here.
We are glad that you're here. So let's start with a look at the demographics. One statistic that we hear is that there are 10,000 people turn 65 every day. So what can you tell us about how the population of older Americans is changing?
Well, one of the things that I think we should all realize is that one of the greatest successes of the 20th century was a doubling of the life expectancy. And the challenge of the next century is to make sure that there's an improved quality of life for all of those individuals. Do you realize that the average age of death in 1900 in the United States was 47? Clearly, we've doubled that. And it turns out that as we look to the future, that we are having hundreds of thousands of individuals reach the age of 100 in our country. And by the year 2050, we expect to have some 800,000 or more individuals over the age of 100. Never before in human history have we had so many people live so long to the maximum human lifespan. You
know, you mentioned about, you know, one of the great achievements of the 20th century is how we have extended our human lifespan with maybe healthy aging as well.
That's correct.
And I know some things like electricity, clean water, you know, proper sewage systems, because I think what I've heard is that in 1900 most people that died of infections, and people don't do that anymore. So what can we what do you see in the future for, you know, how can we replicate these successes, or how are there going to be different factors that are going to be promoting healthy aging?
Well, I think there are many aspects to living longer. One is that if we live longer, we do accumulate life's insults. It is true that we may need more care as time goes on, but studies have shown that people are not only living longer, they're living healthier. And that relates to a lot of lifestyle changes that we can all make. Not only is it the availability of medications, medical care, sanitary systems, healthy cities to live in, those are all very important contributors. But we know that as we go through life, the possibility of impairment is going to increase. We know that healthy aging includes a deterioration in all organ function. This is slow, and it goes on throughout our lifespan. Some individuals are able to withstand life's insults much better than others. Some of this is genetic, but we know that there's a change over time, and the more disability we accumulate, the more care that we will need. If we can choose wisely, follow good health practices, preventive health practices, take medication, also try to prevent illness, try to maximize our ability to take care of ourselves, we can actually extend the ability to do well into long life. And I have a nice slide, I think, that shows that as we age, when there's a great difference in what we can achieve if we pay attention to health practices.
So, we talk about healthy aging. I guess that's what you've been talking about.
Yes.
Is there a difference between healthy aging and active aging?
That is true. As we get older, physiologically, there is a slow decline in all organ systems that we can't change. And if we have illness on top of that, that causes a faster deterioration. And so trying to prevent that, and if illness is evident, trying to prevent the effects of that illness or try to modify the effects of it is very important. So there is a difference between normal aging and disease processes. That is true.
In the slide that you saw my presentation,
yes.
You know, where I was talking about the first line and the functional capacity and how capacity changes for people.
Yes.
Could you explain that further?
I sure can. We know that the ability to take care of yourself is probably the best predictor of how well you're going to do. But it also tells us what sorts of services individuals need. So the ability to take care of yourself, to dress yourself, to ambulate without assistance, to prepare your own meals, to get to the bathroom on your own, are very important. And doesn't matter which illness we're talking about, if it impairs some of those functional capacities, we know that that individual is going to need a lot more care. Not only medical care, but also caregiver support and community services. It is inevitable as we get older that some infirmity will occur, but we can make personal choices in order to help forestall that and to maximize our own independence as time goes on. So your slide is actually very important, and we see functional ability as a final common denominator of many different disease processes.
So as a geriatrician, when you're already working with people that are older.
Yes.
But is it ever too late to start making active choices and healthy choices?
Never is it too late. One can always modify the effects of illness. We would call that secondary prevention, trying to prevent the effects of illness once it's identified, trying to improve. And older individuals can benefit from rehab programs if that's necessary. They often have a slower course, but improvement is possible, yes.
Thank you. So maybe this would be a good time to go to a break, Tim.
Okay.
So that when we come back, we'll be back with Dr. Powers, and we'll talk about some more of the aging in the community.
There's no single answer to securing your financial future. You need to look at it from every side. Get dependable advice you can count on every week with the Retirement Report on News Channel 5+. Experts on finance, taxes, and the legal system are ready to answer your questions. Don't wait to make a plan for your money. The Retirement Report, Friday mornings at 8 and at these encore times on News Channel 5+. This is a Talk of the Town Extra.
I'm Meryl Rose. Our guest today is Dr. Jeffrey Maselli from Innovative Medical Solutions. Today we're talking about thyroid issues and some of the treatment options. Dr. Maselli, nice to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so what are some of the common complaints that people have with thyroid problems?
Biggest one we hear, tired, exhausted all the time. I can't lose weight, I can't keep it off. My hair's thinning, falling out. I just don't feel like me anymore. Moody, irritable, the anxiety, depression can go along with it. Hot flashes, night sweats, heart palpitations, digestive system problems, sleep problems, low sex drive. I mean, brittle nails and skin problems, the list goes on and on.
So what happens when someone comes to your office?
Yeah, so we look at them, well, not only do we test them in the traditional thyroid sense that they get pretty much everywhere else like everybody gets, but we also just go a lot deeper and we go, okay, well, let's look at why this and why that, and then let's, look at that test looks a little bit off, maybe not crazy, but a little off. Let's investigate further over here, and we go down different avenues with different testing in different ways. And we really spend a lot of time and listen to the patient. That's key because there's so much information that people have about what's going on with them if you just listen to them. So once we figure out all these things, we go, okay, here's all the reasons why you're feeling terrible. Now we can make a plan and do something about it.
Is there something that people can do on their own to help treat a problem like this?
Yeah, one of the things I would say is change their diet, try and cut out grains. This is helpful for a lot of people. And then there's a product that I really like, and it's at allyouneednutrition.com. That's allyouneednutrition.com. And it's really like an all-in-one comprehensive nutritional supplement. I really like that. People get good results from that by itself as well.
All right, if they need to come see you, you have a special offer.
I do. If you're feeling like, wow, like I just described, just give us a call. First 20 callers will give you a free consultation. Doesn't matter if you've had your thyroid removed, you're on medication or not. We'll see what we can do to help you.
All right, thanks, Dr. Maselli.
Thank you.
If you'd like more information about Innovative Medical Solutions, visit their website at imsnashville.com or contact their office at the address you see on the screen.
Car accident?
Ponzi Law wins.
When a totaled car is making you totally crazy?
Ponzi Law wins.
When going to the hospital means going broke?
Ponzi Law wins.
When the insurance company only offers this, but your medical bills are this?
Ponzi Law wins.
They've taken bad insurance offers and turned them into 6- and 7-figure settlements.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm Michael Ponzi. If you've been injured, we will win your case. Or you pay us nothing. That's our no-fee guarantee.
Ponzi Law wins.
Call 615-244-4321.
Hi, welcome back to Takacs McGinnis Elder Care Hour News. We're talking about aging, and its impact on those getting older, their families, and the community at large. I'm your host, Tim Takacs.
And I'm his co-host, Barbara McGinnis. We've talked a lot about aging in general, and Dr. Powers is with us again for our next segment. And we've mentioned some slides. Those slides are all going to be available on our website. So we're going to have the link later for you to see those slides for yourself. Dr. Powers, do you want to talk some more about those slides? I think the demographic slide.
Yes, it turns out that we are really seeing many more people live out close to the maximum human lifespan, which is somewhere around age 80 to 120. And we're finding that there are hundreds of thousands of individuals in the United States actually reaching the age 100. By the year 2050, we expect to have over 800,000 individuals in the United States over the age of 100. We have never had that in world history. Never before has that been the case. We find also that the personal choices that we make as we age can influence how independent we are. It is true, as we get older, that we suffer life's insults. We have a decrease in physiologic organ reserve as part of normal aging. But on top of that, there are disease entities which occur. And by making personal choices, such as improved diet, exercise, we can actually modify the impact of disease and extend the independence throughout the lifespan.
And so that's the slide that we're looking at here, the second slide. Yes. Can you kind of explain that a little bit for our viewers?
We find that in early life, our independence increases. This is a normal part of human development, and somewhere around early adulthood, we stop improving, and unfortunately, yes, we start to decline slowly. Studies such as the Baltimore Longitudinal Study on Aging, which has been going on since World War II days, tell us that at about age 30, we start to slowly decline. Yes, many of us are born with much capacity, much excess capacity in our kidney function, our lung function, our heart function, and that's a good thing. But physiologically, we slowly decline. But that decline can be offset by personal choices. And I'd like to show that as we get older, that difference becomes greater. So it's never too late to start improving your lifestyle, improving your health choices.
So at 30 years old, we start to decline?
Actually, yes,
are we
that
seeing,
is true.
Are we seeing perhaps, is that pushing out maybe to later ages, or is that kind of like what all of us can expect?
Well, it is true that the decline starts then, but I think actually we're finding that because of good health practices, better knowledge about how to prevent the onset of illnesses, better treatment, that people are living longer and more healthy lives, and that is very true.
Any particular health obstacles for folks in Tennessee?
Yes, if I could go to the next slide, there are a number of health challenges. Tennesseans can also expect to live longer, but will they live in good health and without disability? Well, that remains to be seen. Tennessee's Big Four, these are the 4 conditions that the health department has identified, are obesity, tobacco use, physical inactivity, and substance abuse. So if we can curb these, we can actually improve the health of all Tennesseans. But those are the Big 4 factors that the Tennessee Department of Health has identified to focus on.
Well, obviously there's a lot of overlap there, obesity with the inactivity. Tips, what do you tell your older people that you're taking care of, especially if they're already coming to you with arthritis and maybe a little overweight to get started?
Sure. We find that individuals who develop a healthy lifestyle choice of prudent diet and exercise often will do the right things for many different organ systems. You are right, there's a lot of overlap here. For individuals who are, say, less than about age 75, it may be important to lose weight. We know that 2/3 of Tennesseans are overweight, so there may be some help there. As we get older, much older, in the 80s and the 90s, actually maintaining weight is important. It turns out that losing weight in those ages actually makes you lose muscle mass as well, and you can become weaker. That is not a good thing. And so maintaining weight as opposed to losing weight is more appropriate for the older age groups.
And especially if we start thinking about losing weight, some of the strategies that we may have used as a younger person doesn't work any longer as a more mature person, correct?
Well, that is true. And in fact, you mentioned arthritis and exercise. That actually is very important. If you can exercise, if you can increase your calorie expenditures, that will help you maintain a healthy weight, help you lose weight. If you have arthritis, if you're short of breath, if you have other medical problems, it is much harder. And so the weight loss is slower, more difficult. You are correct.
We're talking to Dr. James Powers at the Vanderbilt School of Medicine. Dr. Powers, Tennesseans, historically, we're kind of on the bottom as far as the health of our older population. Are we still there?
Yes, unfortunately, it's not just Tennessee, it's this region of the country. We are the heart attack and stroke belt of the country. Certainly other populations in other parts of the country, other parts of the world suffer the same things, but it's more prevalent in this area of the country. Some of that is cultural, and it's a great public health effort to try to get out the word about exercising, losing weight, stopping smoking, and newly identified substance use disorder.
So what are the other areas of the United States? What are they doing that maybe Tennesseans should maybe focus on? Maybe one thing perhaps that...
Well, I think that's a very important question, and I might just talk about urban areas to start with.
Okay.
It turns out that age-friendly cities are being promoted now by the World Health Organization, and we're very proud that Nashville is considering getting there. There are a number of steps, there are a number of criteria. But cities and localities that promote healthy aging have the ability to access public transportation. They have easily available grocery stores with healthy foods. They avoid food deserts, if you will. They also make the ability to be involved in the community. Members of the community organizations make that available for their older citizens. And these all are elements that go into age-friendly cities. And the same can be true for all areas of the country. If an individual is active in their community, if they feel engaged, if they're contributing, they often live longer and live a lot healthier and happier life.
But of course, we know that a lot of the population in Tennessee is not in age, are in urban areas.
That's right.
So what advice would you give to older people, or maybe near older people, who are living in maybe more rural communities who don't have those opportunities?
Right. Well, I think all of us have the opportunity, certainly, to develop healthy lifestyles. So walking is a wonderful exercise. Limiting the amount of empty calories that one eats, lowering the fat content of your diet are all appropriate strategies no matter where you live. And in fact, we're learning a lot now. People often consult me about Alzheimer's disease, memory disorders. What is good for cardiovascular health truly is good for brain health as well. So an active lifestyle, maintaining a healthy weight, controlling blood pressure, diabetes if that is an issue, all goes to helping with memory and cognitive disorders as well.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing at Vanderbilt?
We have been focusing on building a healthy health promotion program. As a geriatrician, we have often focused on the sicker members of our society. That's understandable, but there's a lot that we can do to promote health in the community, and being able to be on programs such as this, being able to teach our trainees about health practices to maintain and promote health throughout the lifespan is a new focus for us. So we're very happy to be involved in this.
Any words of wisdom from how our grandparents may have aged versus how we're aging now? Any comments?
Yes, there is no question that we do inherit traits from our parents, from our grandparents. So observing your grandparents, how long they live, the conditions that they encounter, will say a lot about our own future. Now, we have access to much more health knowledge and healthcare resources than perhaps our grandparents did. So, sure. Despite the fact that grandparents may have suffered some infirmities, knowing about the possibilities for our own future helps us to be in a better position, empowers us to make the choices to live longer and happier lives.
Oh, I love listening to you, Dr. Powers, but it's time for us to go to break again. And when we come back, we will have new guests with us, and we'll take a deeper dive into the community and see what's going on in Nashville.
This is a Storm 5 HD weather update. Sign up for Weather Call at newschannel5.com.
Good Friday from the Storm 5 HD Weather Center. I'm News Channel 5 meteorologist Kelly Cox. Here's a look at your radar picture. Across the mid-state today, we'll see rain off and on, along with a few embedded thunderstorms as well. But it's going to be flooding that is the main concern for us, as a few areas have already picked up heavy rain from overnight. Here are your current temperatures now across the region. These readings are updated hourly. And from the top of the hour, here are your current conditions at the Nashville International Airport. Your forecast for today calls for a high of only 72, so not a big warm up. We're going to see rain off and on again, with a few thunderstorms in the mix and winds going from the south to the north later today. Again, 72 your high, 55 your low tonight, 67, but with dry sunny weather returning for your Saturday. Low 80s for Mother's Day with beautiful sunshine, and then warm with lots of sun throughout the week and slight chance rain on Thursday.
Joyce, how you feel today?
Oh, my back is killing me.
You take care of getting well. We'll take care of the law part.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
If you want to shed the fat and sculpt your body to get that slim, sexy look of your dreams, then you need to stop working out.
Say what?
And start rocking out with Rockin' Body, the fun new body makeover system that was created by fitness expert and Insanity creator Shaun T.
Rockin' Body combines dance and fitness in a fun new way so you can achieve insane weight loss.
I lost 30 pounds dancing.
Now you can tone and tighten your abs, shrink and shape your hips and thighs, and lift and firm your booty, all while you're just dancing.
I've lost 33 pounds. I feel sexy.
And now, for a limited time, the complete $80 Rockin' Body system is 75% off. That's right, Rockin' Body is only $19.95. We'll even upgrade you to express shipping free. Get the complete Rockin' Body system for only $19.95.
Call 1-800-307-0417 or order online at rockinbody.com. 1-800-307-0417. Call now.
Why are you taking out life insurance policies on your clients?
How are we supposed to know which numbers to believe?
This has gone on for years. When do you go to the Attorney General and say, let's shut this place down?
If there's a perfectly logical explanation, why won't you give it to us?
That wasn't really accurate, was it? It's cheating the children.
You just don't see anything wrong with that. It seems like a nice kind of perk for the mayor.
Why did you take all the money from all those elderly people?
We're happy to call. We've made calls. No one's returning our call.
And why won't they fix it?
Is there anything you want to say, sir?
Mr. Mitchell.
How you doing, Mr. Bart?
I got a little gift for you.
I appreciate you. Is it over?
It sure is.
Thank you, Jesus.
We can go to the bank together and cash it if you want to.
Yes, sir.
Welcome back to Takacs McGinnis Elder Care Law News Hour. I'm Tim Takacs, and today we're talking about aging and its impact on seniors, their families, and the community at large. And with me is my co-host, Barbara McGinnis.
I'm Barbara McGinnis, and we're going to look more directly at the community and how it supports seniors. With us today is Grace Sutherland Smith, the Executive Director from the Middle Tennessee Council on Aging, and Ed Cole, he's the chairperson from the Senior Transportation Leadership Coalition here in Nashville. Well, welcome, Grace. Welcome, Ed.
Thank you.
Grace, will you talk to us a little bit about the aging process and the types of support that elders need, especially when they don't have family caregivers?
Sure, I'm glad to. I'll tell you a little bit about the Council on Aging too, because we are known for being an information and education and support agency for older adults and caregivers when they're looking for services and support in the Middle Tennessee area. We publish a directory of services that's free for older adults and available at all the public libraries throughout Middle Tennessee.
Is that it right there?
This is it.
Okay, great.
Yes.
So maybe you could show it.
It's a great place to start when you are looking for resources and wondering who to call, what's available to you. And it can be everything from activities you might want to participate in, community centers, senior centers. It could be lifelong learning programs if you're interested in what courses might be available or travel options. Everything from that spectrum to assistance that you may need with transportation or help in the home, with homemaker services, cooking, cleaning, dressing, bathing. If you're a caregiver and need someone to help you care for a family member, information about Medicare, insurance questions, legal assistance. There is so much good information. It's really the yellow pages. We call it the yellow pages for older adults. So it's a great place to start. And just in terms of your question about what resources are available, there really is a broad spectrum of support options available as we age. There are also some obvious gaps in those options, which I hope we'll have time to talk about. But there's everything from just the information support, which the Council on Aging and the Area Agency on Aging provide, to the in-home care, which many private agencies provide, but that is private pay. If you qualify medically, you can receive home health at home if you're receiving rehab, say after an injury or hospitalization, to the full spectrum of assisted living, supported living as you grow older, and then eventually nursing care if you need that. And there's also hospice care in the home for end-of-life support. So there really is a full array. And we're trying to do more. I've been working with Ed to try to do more to build those community supports for people who want to age in place and really provide them with the support they need.
So who's doing a good job in Middle Tennessee, I mean, as far as the communities? Now, you were here, we were talking to Dr. Powers, and there's a real difference between services that are available in urban areas as opposed to maybe rural areas. So, what's a good aging-friendly community look like to you, and who's doing that in Tennessee, in Middle Tennessee? Do you have any thoughts on that?
We are not there yet, is what I can honestly say about Middle Tennessee. It's a positive that the mayor's office wants Nashville to become an age-friendly city. Dr. Powers mentioned that, so we really feel like that's going to be a move in a positive direction. We're seeing pockets of activity. Certainly the Senior Ride initiative is a definite movement. There are other volunteer driver programs around the state that are helping to fill the need for transportation services. One model that I think is really strong is actually on Monteagle Mountain, which is a naturally occurring retirement community that is formed for residents on Monteagle, where they have a network of neighbors who provide support to each other. So if someone is a retired handyman, they may provide assistance with minor repairs in the home. And they just have a mutual support system that they've built for each other, and can also refer for services if needed.
So what about, you mentioned transportation. What about transportation in the Nashville area for seniors? Historically we've had the Mid-Cumberland Human Resources, the Rapid Transit Bus. So how are we expanding on that program?
We have a great gap. As Grace pointed out, the Council on Aging really focuses on gaps in services to senior citizens, to older adults, and one of those biggest gaps is transportation. As Dr. Powers mentioned, mobility is an important part of the aging process, and most of us were raised with a dependency on cars. That's been our American culture, cities or in the countryside. And as Dr. Powers pointed out, as we live longer, the age at which we really shouldn't drive or can't drive occurs earlier in the lifespan of how long we plan to be around. And so there are going to be more and more years when we're not going to be able to use that device that we all grew up with, the car, and we're going to have to fill in. The problem, the gap that goes to your question, is that public transportation resources have basically been focused on people that either have income requirements that suggest car ownership is a problem or have disabilities. And so we have programs like MTA's Access Ride, like the Mid-Cumberland Human Resource Agency's services. But for a senior citizen who is still relatively mobile but simply can't drive or chooses not to drive, there's a gap. And that's what Senior Ride Nashville is moving forward to fill.
So what's Senior Ride Nashville doing specifically to help our older population?
Senior Ride Nashville is an organization that's the outgrowth of the Senior Transportation Leadership Coalition that was convened under the Council on Aging. And basically we had some help. The governor issued a task force on aging in 2014, and it suggested that to meet transportation needs for seniors, there were models already out there, and Grace just mentioned some across the state of Tennessee. So we, as a coalition, nonprofits, government folks, for-profit senior service organizations, we came together, looked at those models, and the model that we selected is a very straightforward volunteer transportation service where most rides are provided by people who are volunteering their time and their vehicle, their car, to meet the needs of an aging person who wants to shop, who wants to get to the doctor, who wants to have lunch with friends. And so that's the model that we're pursuing.
But when's it going to start?
We've already started some very quiet pilot rides with people to get a feel for this. We are planning on the first pilot area, and the area will be in the Bellevue area of Middle Tennessee of Nashville in late summer. We haven't set up this year, 2017. And then we hope to move from that pilot to another pilot within this calendar year of 2017. And then we would see next year moving county-wide. And we're also in some conversations with some surrounding counties for some initiatives that would build on the model in those areas as well.
So you're the chairperson of the Nashville Senior Ride, is that right? And how did you get involved in this?
I have spent a lot of years in my professional career in transportation, and actually some 11, 12 years ago, I got up when I was with TDOT, the Department of Transportation, got a call from Grace, who was on the board of the Council on Aging at that time, and said, we need to think about senior transportation. What do you all have in the state transportation arena that could meet the need? And that's when the journey began. We quickly, as I mentioned earlier, realized there are no publicly funded programs to meet this precise need. And so then we began to talk and we began to work, and then it took time, get people of interest to come with us. And then the governor's task force report was issued, and then we're now at the point where we are an incorporated Senior Ride Nashville. We are imminently expecting our 501c3 designation from the Internal Revenue Service. Will be nonprofit, tax exempt, and then we will begin those pilots.
So you're going to be volunteer based, or at least dependent on some volunteer drivers, right? How do we get volunteers connected?
Volunteer is a key element of this. And so on the screen, I think, is our website, seniorridenashville.org.
There it is.
And a phone number that you can call right there. Again, we're
call and ask for Ed, right?
Call and ask for Ed.
And, do you do the rides too?
Well, yes, right now, and then several of us, because we're getting some good experience in that regard. But we're actually taking names and talking with people that want to be volunteers right now. And this would include areas outside of Bellevue. This would be anybody, and we'll keep in touch. So when the time comes, we'll be ready to.
So are all our older people going to have apps on their phones for ride sharing? Senior Ride Nashville how is this going to work?
No, the answer to that question is no. One of the things that the pilots have really, other parts of the country have stressed is most of us who are aging are very comfortable with a telephone. And most caregivers are very comfortable with it. It's a common denominator. So the Senior Ride Nashville model will have a call center. That will be a place where people will call, and a human being on the other end will take the information. We have great computer backed backroom software
Yeah.
to list volunteers and list trip needs and times and all of that.
Oh.
But the whole interface will be with the telephone. Now, great part of that question is if I call and I would love to use Lyft, for example, but I don't have a smartphone, I don't know how to use it, I don't worry about money, I don't worry about time, I just want to ride right now, then what we would do at Senior Ride in Nashville is set up an account for you at Lyft and set up your trip for you at Lyft so you don't have to use your phone.
Sounds great, Ed, but we got to go to break again. And we're going to be back, and we're